post this on our YouTube page. And so please, if you have questions or we talk too fast, we don't expect you to know everything all right now. We will also be talking about this when we have our in-person orientation. But I wanted to make sure, and I highlighted, we sent out an email the beginning of this week for any students that may be delayed arriving due to the inability to get a visa interview. So we are making doing as much as we can to support you with that, but we need your help. And that means we need you to fill out a form. I sent it, it came from, I believe it came from me. It was titled Late Arrivals. I need you to go on there and fill out that form, upload evidence of your visa interview, and let us know that if you need to be late, because we want to make sure that we work with faculty members so that they will work with you in anything that you miss. We know that getting those interviews is kind of tricky depending on the country, and the delay is not necessarily your fault. So I just really want to emphasize while we're here, please let us know what we can do to help you, and know that every single person here on this call from Snow College is passionate about international. We love everything you bring to Snow. And so I'm going to turn the time over to them. I do have to step out for another meeting, but I wanted to make sure that I got on here and saw at least some faces. So.
Okay, thank you, Becky. So hello, everyone. We're going to start off today's session. I see that we have a few people that were present on our session from Tuesday. So welcome again. This one, we're going to primarily do it in English only. So hopefully everyone's ready to practice those skills. My name is Diana Montaño. I work here at the Center for Global Engagement. I help out students with figuring out payment plans, making sure that you are registered for enough credits to kind of conform with your student visa requirements, as well as other things that you may need help with. And so that's me, and I can pass it over to Nobue.
Hi everyone, my name is Nobue Swenson. I help admissions, health insurance, social securities. We are so excited to have you join next month. Thank you.
And go for it, Chris.
All right, hello everybody. And my name's Chris Flom, and I am also in the Center for Global Engagement. My role is the international recruiter. So I am the one that likes to spread the word and talk about Snow College, answer your questions as they pertain to, tell me a little bit about Snow College. What is there to do? I love talking about, the application process. What documents do I need? I go out and do traveling, visiting in various countries to help students just like yourselves understand. You, your families, your friends, even individuals at your schools. I am happy to talk to everybody about Snow College so that they know and understand the opportunities that do exist here at our institution. With that, I'll go ahead and turn the time back over to Diana.
Woohoo! Thank you. So today we're going to only talk about immigration sessions and kind of like what you need to expect when you are traveling to the United States, as well as what documents you need to keep safe, how many credits you need in order to maintain your status, and other opportunities that you will have once you have completed at least one full year of academic study here at Snow College. So take notes, because this is stuff that you're going to need your whole entire academic journey that you will have here at Snow College, as well as in the United States. And if you have any questions, please make sure to put them in the chat so that way we can answer them during the session. So thank you. Next slide, Chris.
Yeah.
So a few documents that we are going to talk about, which you maybe have heard about them through the emails that we have sent to you or through other methods that you've gotten your information about studying in the United States. We will talk about your passport, your I-94, your I-20, and your visa. So all these documents, they are very different from one another, but they all work together to help you maintain your status here in the United States when you're here studying, as well as to help you understand a little bit about, while they are different, they work together. So we don't want to make sure we confuse the name. A lot of things that we hear is that students will confuse I-20 and their visa. They think it's the same thing. And we'll talk more about the little details about every single document, but just so you all know, They work together, but they're not the same thing. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is your passport. As by now, you all should probably have a passport. If you don't, we're all going to be panicking for you. But basically, your passport is a document that you will need to travel into the United States or anywhere across the world, and it must be valid for at least 6 months into the future at all times. So what this basically means is, hypothetically, if my current passport, if it's going to expire in December, then right now I wouldn't be able to travel with it because it would be less than 6 months I have. So you want to make sure right now, look through your passport, make sure that you have more than 6 months into the future at all times. And when you are here, if your passport does expire, we can help you find resources so you can get it renewed with an embassy or consulate here in the United States. So just wanted to keep that for all of you to know. And as well, we have had a few instances where students have lost their passports. So when that has happened, we highly recommend that you report it to the police that it has been lost or stolen, because in order to get a new one from your consulate or embassy, they will require a police report of some kind. So either way, keep it locked up. Don't, all these documents, keep them safe and secure. Don't just leave them on your dining table. They're important for a reason. The next document that we're going to be discussing is the I-20. So a lot of our students will confuse the I-20 for their visa, which they work together, but they're very different. So this is your I-20. You may have already received it from Nobue. If you think you haven't received it, please check your emails. Ms. Nobue is sending anything important that in regards to Snow College, we will send it to your student email. So please review that almost once a day, just so that way you can make sure that you have the most up-to-date news. So this is your I-20. Please check everything, make sure that it matches from your name, your first or last name, your passport number, the program you want to study, the major you want to study, as well as the scholarship amount. Just please double check that it is all correct. We create a lot of these within a day, and too many to count over the semester. So sometimes, fingers may slip. So please make sure that it's all correct and it all matches. Okay. For me, one of the most important things on your I-20 specifically is your program end date. As I have mentioned, we create a lot of I-20s throughout the year. And so at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to know about the details of your I-20. One of the most important things on your I-20 is your program start date and your program end date. So for those that were here at the very beginning, Ms. Becky discussed about why if you're going to be arriving late, then you will need to send us information about when you're arriving late, as well as proof that your visa application appointment has been set. If you think that you are not going to be able to get a visa for this incoming academic semester, then you will please have to let us know, so that way we can make the change on your I-20 that you will be arriving next academic semester. Another thing that I like to recommend students right now to do is on the program start date and end date, you should be able to see when your I-20 will not expire, but for lack of a better word, expire. So here we can see that this student's program end date is going to be on July 1st, 2021. So for this student not to worry if they were going to fall out of status, we would tell that student to come talk to someone here in the CGE, preferably me, about if they needed an extension on their I-20, or they are going to finish their degree earlier than that. So please put already a calendar notice of when your I-20 is going to expire. Most of you, I believe, will have it into 2026 or 2027. Put it on your calendar on your phone, so that way when it comes circling close by, like 2 months before it's going to expire, you have enough time to talk to someone in our office so we can get you taken care of. The estimated time needed for each degree, it will depend on what your degree type is. So, sometimes it's not the best idea to look at your friends and compare it with yours, because while you may have similar experience, you'll be two different individuals. So for ESL, you will have around 18 months on your program. For an associate degree, you'll have 24 months. And for your bachelor's degree, you will have 48 months. Next slide, please. Thank you. Another thing that we also need to discuss is if you are traveling outside of the United States. If you're traveling like just to visit an auntie in Texas or a cousin in New Hampshire, you don't need to get a travel endorsement from someone in the CGE. It is only if you are leaving the borders of the United States. So if that means you're going back home in Japan, or you wanted to take a vacation with your family in Egypt, it will all just depend on you, but please make sure you get that travel endorsement from us. It will be on your second page. And on the top of this, we can see the off-campus employment information that we will discuss it further in the presentation. But just know that in order to travel outside of the United States, you will need to get a travel signature endorsement from one of us. We recommend that a student come to our office at least 2 weeks before they are traveling, just so that way you are given enough time for us to process it. Because if you're traveling, there's probably like 20 other students that are also traveling. So please make sure that you allot the appropriate time. Next session. Thank you, Chris. So now we're going to be discussing what is a visa. So how my boss likes to explain what a visa is basically a visa is a key to the house. So, you have your house, you need the key to get inside, but once you're inside, you don't need the key to go into the living room or the kitchen or your bedroom because you are already inside. That's what the visa does for you. The visa lets you into the United States, but once you are here, you don't really need it in order to maintain your status. What you will need to help you maintain your status is your I-20. But this is only for F1 and J1 visas. So hopefully we are taking my context. We're saying that with the context of you're here on an F and a J1 visa. You can remain in the US with an expired visa. You will just need to make sure that you're maintaining your I-20, that it hasn't expired, that you're enrolled in a full course load, and all those details. The one thing is, if you do leave the United States on an expired visa, then you will need to make sure that you have a good amount of time allotted to apply for a renewal of your visa or a new visa at your embassy or the consulate in your home country. Without that, you're gonna be impossible for you to enter the United States. So visa is just to let you in. While you're inside, it can expire, but if you choose to leave with an expired visa, then you will need to renew it before you come back. Okay, and then here are some of the details of what your visa will or should look like. So here we can see we blurred out the important information just so that way we can keep this person's identity pretty great. So here, I think one of the most important details for you to review, make sure that it matches, it's that your passport number is correct, that the spelling of your name is correct, as well as your birth date. Other important information on your visa will be R means regular, that you have a regular passport. You're not here on like a specific type of political passport, and that your class is the type of an F1 student. Some of you may have more than one visa in your passport if you have traveled to the United States on a visitor visa, or if you came as you were sponsored by somebody else. And so please make sure that this is an F1 visa and not a different type of visa. You also will want to take note of your visa number just for emergencies, as well as the expiration date that you will have on your visa, just so that way you can know. I would recommend putting, again, a little calendar reminder on your phone, so that way you know, okay, my visa is going to expire in July of 2027. So after that, I will need to either apply for a renewal of my visa, or I'll just make sure that I'll just have to stay in the United States for a little bit longer until you are ready to travel outside of the United States. And the last thing on your visa that's important is the M on the how many entries you have. So this will depend on your interview. We, as a Snow College employees, have no say of what the officer gives you on your visa. So sometimes we have students that have only 2 entries permittable. Sometimes we have M, which means that you can enter multiple times, that they don't have a set limit on you. So please just jot down, if you do have a number, make sure that you're not traveling so much that you've already used up all your entries. And again, making it clear, there's whatever is given to you by the officer that has given you your visa, that is what it is. We don't have any say to make any of those changes. Okay, your I-94 record. This is one that, as of right now, I believe most of you won't need to worry about unless, I mean, even if you have traveled to the US before, you still won't need to worry about it. Your I-94 record is basically just a record that we pull up when you arrive to Snow College to make sure that the customs agent, they administered you into the United States under the class of an F1 student. Sometimes, like I mentioned in the previous slide, you may have more than one visa when you're coming into the United States. And if the customs agent is a little bit, stressed because there's a lot of people, sometimes they will just administer students without the correct class. So once you arrive here to Snow College, we will pull up your I-94 record and just make sure that the customs agent put F student and not another visa type. Like the most common one is a tourist visa, which is a B visa. So we just like to verify that. We will help you out with giving you your first I-94. And then from there on out, it will be your responsibility to double check that you were administered under an F visa and not a B visa. Here is the link on the bottom of the page to give you a little bit more information of where you can find that. But as of right now, you don't need to worry about your I-94. And when you arrive to Snow College, if we do see that the customs agent, they did a mistake and you came under a B, they administer you under a B visa or another type of visa, we will help transport you to the Salt Lake City International Airport so that way we can get that fixed for you. So no worries about this. Okay, now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of how to maintain your F1 status. So making it really clear, since before you arrive here, it is your responsibility to maintain your status. And the ways that you can maintain your status is by being enrolled full-time, which means 12 credits or more, and 9 of those 12 credits need to be in-person classes. If you are doing 6 credits online and 6 credits in person, that is not maintaining your full-time enrollment. You need to have at least 9 credits in person in order for this to work out. If you want to take more than 12 credits, that's totally fine. We have students that take up to 18 credits or even more than that. So you just need to make sure that you are understanding your responsibility to, have making academic progress, as well as maintaining full enrollment with how many credits you have. You'll also need to keep your address updated with CVIS. So every single semester, you will get an email from one of us here in the CGE asking you to fill out what is called the student information form. This information form just helps us get the most up-to-date information about you, and that means we will collect your email, your cell phone, your address, and this isn't something that we as Snow College employees require. This is something that the government requires. So if you are not giving us the most updated information to you every semester, then unfortunately, sometimes students will have their I-20s automatically completed or automatically canceled or terminated because you didn't give us the correct information in that specific allotted time. So please, 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 please make sure you're reading your student email so that way even now and then when you are here continuing to be a student at Snow College, so we can make sure that we have the most up-to-date information so you cannot put yourself at risk of having your status terminated. And we will also be discussing on-campus versus off-campus employment and what is available and what is not available. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, full-time enrollment is only required for those students that are coming for fall and for spring semesters. Summer semester, we consider that like a break. And so if you would like to take courses over the summer, that's totally fine. If you wanted to take a break, you wanted to go visit your aunt in Miami, you wanted to hang out with your family back in Brazil, whatever works best for you, that's okay. Summer, it's your time to relax and, sort out your life. But for fall and for spring semesters, you need to be full-time enrolled into courses. What that looks like I said, it takes 12 credit hours per semester for fall and for spring, and 9 of those credits need to be in person. Once you arrive here for orientation, we'll talk more about what a credit hour is, because I know that might be a different subject that some of you have ever learned about in your education back home. So we will talk about that. If you will not be able to enroll full-time, whether that be because you got sick, or it's usually because of sickness that we are able, Becky or myself are able to figure something out, but you will need to talk with us in advance. It's really hard to have conversations with students when they come to us the day before and they want us to find a solution for tomorrow. That's not really how it works when it comes to immigration. We as an office like to do our research so that way we make sure that we have the most up-to-date information so that you are well taken care of. So please talk to us in advance. Give us about 2 weeks to a week the latest so we can help you figure out what steps you need to do in order to maintain your status. Okay, and then going back as well to updating your address, you are required to report any changes to your CVIS, your foreign address, as well as your CVIS local address, US address, within 10 days of moving. If you do not give us within those 10 days, then you do put yourself at risk of having your I-20 terminated, which is, it's a lot harder to get reinstated than it is for us to just make you a new I-20, which we can talk about that later on, but please update us as soon as possible so that way you're not putting yourself at risk of having your I-20 terminated. Okay, and then traveling outside of the US, like I've mentioned, if you want to travel within the borders of the United States, that's okay. You don't need to get a travel endorsement from us. If you wanted to go to LA, Chicago, somewhere in Houston, Texas, like wherever you wanted to go in the United States, that's fine. You don't need to get our travel endorsement. But if you are choosing to leave the borders of the United States, like for example, Canada, Mexico, Colombia, France, wherever you wanted to go in the United States, outside of the United States, you would need to get a travel endorsement from one of us here at the CGE. Those 5 people are Becky Adams, the director, Ms. Nobue Swenson, Alex Peterson, Chris Vlam, or myself, Diana Montaño. We are the only 5 individuals that can sign that travel endorsement. Your professors cannot sign this. Your academic advisor cannot sign it. Just us 5. So please come talk to us with a good amount of time before asking for your travel endorsement. Most students, they get a travel endorsement at the end of the semester. So you can imagine around 200 students coming in all at one time saying, I need a signature. It can get pretty crowded and wait times can build up. So please do not make yourself be put into that type of situation. Get that travel endorsement within like 2 weeks before you are leaving. So that way you're good to go. We have time to review your documents, making sure that you're good to go when you're traveling outside. So that way it's just, you're good. And if you forget to get a travel endorsement, it can make your arrival back into the United States a pretty tricky experience that we do not wish on you. So please make sure that you're getting the signature with a good amount of time. Depending on when your I-20 was last signed, you may need a new signature. So we advise students to get a new travel signature every 6 months, just to make sure that you are good to go as well. If you do not submit if you do not submit your travel signature request on time, you may not receive your I-20 back before you leave, which again puts you in a pickle that we do not want for you. Okay, now we get into probably one of the most hottest topics that we have as international staff here at Snow College is about on-campus employment and off-campus employment. So as an international student, you are only permitted to work on campus. I will repeat that. As an international student, you are only permitted to work on campus. And even with that, there are still some other policies that we need to discuss. So as an international student here at Snow College, you can work up to 20 hours per week while school is in session. So now that the semester is going to start on August 20th, you are only allowed to work 20 hours per week. But during breaks, you can work up to full-time defined by your college and defined by your supervisor. So for example, right now with summer break, so we hired a student worker. We have Diego. Diego can work with us up to 40 hours per week because it is summer break. But once school starts back again in August, then Diego will only he will only be able to work the 20 hours per week. But depending on your student as a boss, that may change. So for example, us at CGE, we're giving Diego around 25 to 30 hours per week, even during the summer, because that is what we are going to allow. But some of your other bosses on campus may allow up to 40 hours per week. So it will just depend on your supervisor as well as the college. F1 students can work on campus without getting the CGE authorization. That means you can work in the library, you can work in the math lab, you can work anywhere on campus and you don't need to get our permission. Let's see. Okay, thanks, Chris. For off-campus employment, this is where things get a little bit more, we have to be a little bit firmer with our information. So international students are not permitted to work off campus without prior authorization from somebody in the CGE or from USCIS. So working without permission is a direct violation of your F1 student immigration status, and we will terminate your record if you violate this rule. We do this not because we find enjoyment, but because it is what is required by the law, and we want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. We understand that every person has different needs, and so if you find yourself struggling financially, mentally, emotionally, please reach out to one of us here at the CGE. We can connect you to resources that can help you prepare yourself for these types of stressors and to make sure that you are safe. And unfortunately, with working off campus, you are putting yourself susceptible not only to the mercy of the USCIS agents, as well as maybe getting not treated the best by that employer. So please do not work off campus, because then we're all put in a situation that is uncomfortable, and we do not want to wish that upon you. So what is considered off-campus employment? It can look very different depending on your situation. So off-campus employment could be that you would be getting paid in, for example, lodging, which is like staying at somebody's house, meals, transportation, gift certificates, or any other form of payment. So for example, if I were to tell our student worker, Diego, hey, Diego, if you take care of my dog, Shota, I will give you a $10 gift certificate to Subway. Hopefully, Diego says, Diana, that's not cool, and that goes against my F1 status. So that way he knows that is not acceptable. If one of your professors says, hey, can you take care of my child because I want to go on a date with my partner, and I will pay you in a meal, then that's when you say, nope, sorry, I cannot do any type of off-campus employment. That is an example. So before accepting any kind of employment, please be sure to send me an email, Diana Montaño, so that way we can verify that this employment you are eligible for and it doesn't break your F1 rules and regulations. Most off-campus employment opportunities generally require you to have completed at least one academic year to be eligible to apply for this authorization opportunity, unless your program requires immediate participation, for example, in an internship. So you'll still need to see me. During the academic year, I throw a seminar that helps students kind of learn more about OPT and CPT opportunities that we will talk about as we continue through this presentation, but you will have opportunities to learn more about CPT and OPT. So you heard me say those initial CPT and OPT, kind of what is the difference between those. So CPT stands for Curriculum Practical Training. So basically this type of employment, off-campus employment opportunity is one that it's an integral part of your curriculum. So for example, we have students right now that are taking a CNA course, which is a nursing course. And in order to pass this course, they need to work 20 hours in an elderly home to help out those type of patients to get that experience. Because they need to get 20 hours of an internship, then we as a CGE give them permission. We write it down on a government form. We also put it onto their I-20 record that this student has the capability or has the opportunity to work off campus because they need it in order to pass this class. So that is what CPT is. So this is work authorization that allows students or you to do an internship. This is issued on a one semester basis. So if you wanted to do a CPT every semester, then you would need to apply for it every single semester. It also needs to be applied for before the semester begins. So if you wanted to start a CPT for fall 2026, then you would need to come talk to me before fall 2026 classes begin. So something to keep in mind. And then this is only eligible after attending school for one academic year. And you must be continuously enrolled on a full course of study. Now, OPT, which stands for Optional Practical Training, is training/employment directly related to your major. So, for example, right now we have a student who graduated recently and their major was in civil engineering. So they are working with a civil engineering company in a town called Fillmore. The student had to come talk to me before graduation happened. So that way he can have what is called an EAD, an employment authorization card. And with that, he is able to work off campus. Most OPTs, we see that our students apply for them after they have completed their whole degree, and then they can apply for OPT. And this gives you a 1-year work permit, up to 1 year. So if you wanted to only work for 8 months and not the full 12 months, that's fine, but you can work up to 1 full year. And if you are going to be a student in our bachelor program of software engineering, then you could apply for what is STEM OPT. I won't go into that just yet. We will come back to that in the future if you choose to join one of my OPT or CPT seminars. Okay, so program end date, we talked about that earlier in the presentation, so I'm gonna put it again. It is your responsibility to know when your program end date is. If you need more time to complete your program, please come talk to me so that way we can make sure that we talk about, where you are in this process of, getting your credits completed. If you switched majors and that's why you need more time, basically you just need to make sure you allot time so we can have the talk to make sure that you know what is required for you to earn your degree as well as to maintain your status. In order to apply for a program extension, you will need to come talk to someone here at the CGE before your program end date on your I-20 shows. So, for example, we see here that the program end date says July 1st, 2021. If this student were to come to me on July 2nd, 2021, there is really not much that I can do. The student will have already moved on to a different status, which means I can't really extend their I-20. But if they came to me on June 30th, even though that's a little bit too close, there is still time for me to make some adjustments. Again, you do not want to cut it that close. You want to come talk to me with at least 2 weeks, if not more. Most of our students that do need a program extension, they will come to me about 2 months before, so that way we can figure things out. So program end date, it's your responsibility to know it. Please put a reminder on your phone or on your planners, wherever, so that way you know when is the appropriate time to come talk to someone in the CGE about that. Okay, and so what happens, or what can you do once your end of program has arrived? So once you have graduated from SNO, you earn your degree, what are the next moves? So we recommend that you come talk to someone here in the CGE. While your academic advisors are a great way to start to know about what other programs you can transfer to or what schools, you will still need to talk with us at the CGE so that way we can tell you what the immigration things you need to do, what the government tells you need to do. So things that you can do once you have completed your degree here and have ended your program is 1, transfer to another school, 2, apply for OPT, 3, if you want to apply for a change of visa category, you can, or 4, leave the United States permanently. So once your I-20 completes, so for example, that student that we just witnessed before, their program end date was on July 1st. They have 60 days to make a decision about what you want to do. So, for example, if you were graduating on August 1st, then you would have to come talk to me within those 60 days. So, over August 1st, September, October 1st would be the absolute last day you have to talk to me about what your plan is. So, if you have not said anything to me within the 60 days, then your I-20 will automatically move to what is called a complete status, which means you are no longer able to use this I-20, which means you'll have to exit the United States and enter on a new I-20. So, and this is not something that we decide, it's what the government decides. So it's a pretty strict deadline of 60 days. If you have not used one of these options, I already said that, you need to reapply for reinstatement or depart or re-enter the United States. Okay, so we're getting almost, I think we have like 2 weeks left or 3 weeks left until we see each other. So what's the best way that you can find ways to communicate with us? So emails. I know right now you may have noticed that our response time has slowed down a bit. Our office has been recently, we got new carpet, so we had to pack all of our supplies up, and now we're unpacking them and reorganizing our office again. So hopefully you'll be able to start seeing our normal response rates to pick up by the end of this week or early next week. But still, you would want to send us any communication or any questions or concerns to our email. So we could only send, now that we're getting there, we could only send emails to your SNO email. So what that's going to look like, it's going to be your first name dot last name at students.sno.edu. So please start getting in the habit of checking that student email and using that one to send us messages or emails, to book times with us. So that way we know that you are receiving the information that we have sent. If you get emails from us, please open them immediately and read every single line. Please read it. It has important details that may impact your immigration status. We may let you know about academic issues or other important matters, and you will need to take immediate action. So please read any emails that you receive from us. Again, you're going to have to plan ahead if you want to request time to meet up with us, if you're going to need some advising. Please do not wait until the last minute, because we have a lot of things to do during the academic year, and so it can get pretty stressful for you and for us. Also, when students were arriving, we're preparing for arrival, since we are going to be up in Salt Lake City picking you up at the airport, helping you, go to Walmart and shop, helping you check into your dorms. Our mind is more focused on you physically here, and so our email response may also might slow down during that process. So please just do give us around 2 to 3 days to respond to your emails or to process any paperwork. We appreciate your patience and your courtesy, and if you notice that it's been like a week and you still haven't heard a response from us, please remind us, send us a reminder email, so that way you can get pushed to the top. And that is it, basically, on regards to immigration and how to maintain your status. Please, continue to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5. Here's our phone number as well as our email, our general email to get questions. And I saw that we had a few questions in the chat, so let me go through those really quickly while everyone is still here. So earlier in the session, we talked about if you're going to be arriving late due to some visa wait times, you have to send it through, I believe Becky sent out an email on Monday titled Late Arrival. Please review that email so that way you can find the link and, put in that application that you will be arriving late. She sent it on Tuesday, sorry. And the link is also in the chat if you are if you're thinking you're going to be arriving late because of visa issues. And if you also wanted to reply or watch a recap of our immigration videos or any other videos that we have done during this summer sessions, you can find it on our YouTube page. Ms. Nobue was gracious enough to put it on our chat. So please look at that if you wanted to review any sessions about payment plans, insurance, banking, credits, anything of that sort. And yeah, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, or emotional outbursts? Well, that means I did a great job.
You did excellent.
Thank you, Chris. So if nobody has any questions, then we will give you back these extra 15 minutes that we have. And like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please send us an email, get in contact with us. And please, we appreciate your patience during this time of us fixing our office. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye. Have a good day, you guys.